Ready and waiting, I believe.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the
Hello.
invitation.
Welcome, Doctor. I'd love to know where you are right now.
I am in Thessaloniki, Greece. Right now we are about 20 degrees, so sunny,
It's
and you
good.
are invited to visit us.
We're going to come right into a little piece of Greece is going to come to all of us right now in the form of your session with us right now. So remember, towards the end, the questions that come up, the comments, the engagement that's coming up, I'll pop back in and then ask you those questions.
Okay, no problem at all. So, uh, thank you for the invitation. Honored to stand in front of such an audience. When I received this kind of invitation, I was wondering how can I form the presentation in a way that it will be a useful and practical stuff for you. Most of you, if not all, are very experienced. You have done a lot of things in your career. So the least you would like from me right now is to enumerate theories and principles that are met in books. What I will do in the next, let's say, 20 plus minutes is to provide you with a methodology that we have followed in order to make the shift, to make the change in the company. I've been with the company for 5 years, and years and few months, and I have seen clearly the shift, the transformation, a lot of changes, a lot of new people came, some people had to go, new standards of operation. But we still have way to go. We are always in transformation, and you are also in your companies in a continuous change. However, ladies and gentlemen, my intention is not to give you theory, is to present what exactly we have done and the process that we used for that. And it was not at all an easy thing. It was not an overnight thing. Uh, it took us a lot of time, a lot of persistence, methodological planning, and of course, consistency. There were moments that I felt disappointed. There were moments that I felt alone. I felt that the people don't want to follow what we do. And clearly, if I had no full support by the owners of the company, I don't know if that would be able to be done. So we had to overcome insecurity. We had to overcome resistance. We had to replace those feelings with positive attitudes. And it was not something quick and something easy. So allow me to share with you uh, my screen. I hope you are able to see my screen now. Hold, and I start receiving some answers for a teaser I would like to share with you. So I will wait. Let's leave this for later since the answers are very limited. So let's start with the presentation, and then meanwhile, when I see more answers, we're going to get back and discuss some of the findings in there. So you're all familiar with this nice picture from Titanic. When 110 years back, when they built this amazing ship, the chief engineer said God himself could not sink this ship. True, indeed. But what about an iceberg? I will take a couple of minutes to talk about the iceberg theory, which says that in every brand, in every company, we have two parts: the visible how nice, architecture, advertisement, symbols, logos, communication. And of course, we do have the invisible, which is the tension, the values, the emotions, the routine, the arguments, the synthesis at the end. I will speak on that, on the invisible part. And because I'm sure this is what we're interested upon. But in any case, what is a brand? A brand is a promise that our company gives to the stakeholders. And can I build it? Of course, with plan, persistence, and consistency. Can I do it too? Certainly we can. And we can do it very well as well. As a person or company. Both as a person or as a company. But there are no funds, you might say. And I would say this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that we really want to change. And how can I benefit from that? We see the benefits from the trust and respect we have received from colleagues, customers, suppliers, employees, potential employees, even competitors. So we had added value for the company. Allow me, however, to take some time and tell you who we are, what we do, where we go, and how we function. Under the umbrella of the role of people in our operation, how we plan for a positive corporate culture, and finally, building and supporting the character of the company, meaning the vision and the values. The company started 18 years ago from these two gentlemen and a lady, 2004, 4 employees at that time in 150 square meters. Right now, we're 97 or 98 people with around 3,000 square meters. It's considered to be a reliable fertility clinic in Europe, with recognized for their quality and then the focus on science. These people set a clear value and a set of values and a clear vision, which we actually restructured them a few years back. Those are a safe way for decision making for our middle management. So we train our people to make decisions within this framework of operation. The philosophy under which the company is built years now is that in our communication, we give a promise to our guests, to our couples, to our patients, name them however you want. We give them a promise, a realistic promise. We are going to be near you, a life's dream. So in this dream, we will support you to the end. At the same time, the company communicates with employees, with our people, with our employees, enabling them and preparing them so that when they talk to the customers, they will deliver the promise. The critical side for us is the red side, where we carefully select and train people, when we have individual protocols, when we have communicated clearly the aims, the objectives we want to our employees first. And it's not easy, and you know it better than me, it's not easy at all. This is our overall satisfaction. We check this, we evaluate, we monitor this promise every day. So this is a sample of 925 questionnaires. Overall satisfaction, year ago, 97%. Are we happy? We are. We are happy. But what happens to the 3%? 3%, multiply this by 4,000 visits we have a year, it's 120 customers are not thrilled with us. And this is an issue. Not a huge issue, but it's an issue that we want to know why, and we want to know with our people, how can we make it even shorter, even smaller, this percentage. This is our miracle of life, our laboratory. Everything is controlled, everything is wired so that in every small change, in even a small change, we're going to be notified. And the aims for the years to go, for the next 5 years, we're going to focus on people, we're going to focus on external expansion, we're going to focus on research, on society, on quality in daily operation, and so on and so on. We don't forget, of course, that we're part of society, so we do a lot of things without being loud, with modesty. We do a lot of things for the society. Our clients are coming from 35 countries from all over the world. 1 out of 4 comes from countries abroad, Greece. Our place, no need to stay here, and of course, very carefully designed interior and exterior. And of course, there is an academy that we use to train people from all over the world. Every month we have a lot of seminars throughout. It's a platform to advance the science and, of course, to enhance our international profile. How we develop from 2014 until today. From 33 people, we came to almost 100, to 98. And our embryo transfers from 1193 to 250, we're estimating to go to this in this year. If you convert those in percentages, you're going to see that we grew for in terms of people, in terms of personnel, almost 200%, whereas our let's say income, our sales are advanced by 72%. You will see the discrepancy, you will see the difference, but as a matter of fact, as I said, the company is focused on quality and quality costs. And this is an indication that the company is dedicating themselves on that principle. We develop people by doing different things in here. We do internal trainings very often. We also have external trainings. We finance people, as many of you do, of course. We finance people to do studies abroad or outside of the city, and so on and so on. So the person is and will be always in the center of our operation. And a lot of things changed. You will see them quickly in a while, but these are not changing. This is the DNA of the company, and this is what brought us here, and this is what leads us to the next, let's say, decade or so. In these 18 years of consistency, more than 10,000 births, one very clear vision, and almost 100 valuable, very valuable colleagues that they're working in here. Only for the last 3 years, each one of us had a smaller or a bigger contribution in almost 2,000 new births. And this is the ultimate nice objective, nice end of our routine. So how did we start? First things first, we start by clarifying the organizational hierarchy. Who does what? What is expected from each person? And then use certain principles to guide us. We decided to follow and to adapt the code of conduct of CMI. We saw that it clearly fits to what we want to do. So we convert them in Greek. We train our middle management on these 6 or 7 principles. We agree on that, and the whole operation started slowly by slowly to have the same direction. It was not easy. It was not easy to train and develop our middle management. These people are biologists, are nurses, are midwives, are doctors, are embryologists. So these people had a different mindset. So, but we had to develop this administrative, I would say, capability, and we're so happy with what they do right now in their departments. After that, we said, okay, let's now check our corporate values, and we need to refresh them, and let's see our vision. Is it what we want? So 4 years ago, we had two groups of 9 people. After, let's say, two workshops, 18 participants, two workshops, 3 hours each, we ended up with different proposals. And one more meeting with all groups together, both groups together, we ended up by defining our values, by refreshing our values actually, and by restating our vision. And of course, this is a guide for us, because based on this, we train people, we evaluate people, we monitor performances, and so on and so on. But before we move on, let me have a short parenthesis here and see what happens inside the companies. I would like to present some interesting findings in here. So you might find answers to the quiz I asked you to complete before. Management lies. What people believe, percentage-wise, 60%, 6 out of 10, they believe that we are not honest. Not proud of us. Again, 56% are not proud of company leaders. How many of them would fire us? 1 out of 4, if they could, they would have fired us. How many people are actively engaged in their work? And I have a short chapter on that later on. 30%, only 29% are actively engaged in their work. Okay. And how many believe that senior leaders treat employees as a vital asset? 1 out of 10. How many of them they feel that we communicate openly with them? 4 out of 10. How many with high potential employees are disengaged? 21. And they plan to go out of them, 25%. And of course, only 14% that we are ethical and acting honestly towards them. So this is the situation. And on the other hand now, this is what we expect from our people: to be flexible, to produce more, to be team players, to not be absent, to develop, to reduce. The question I'm asking to myself is why? What will make an employee perform like Professor Argyris said decades back? What it is it the salary by itself? You give the answer. What else is necessary for the people to be engaged at the level we want? Another study, interesting study too, that lets us make some decisions in the company when we read it. Huge study. Thousands of people participated in these counters that you see there, asking one of the questions: who has the most positive impact on you, on the employees? Obviously not us. Obviously, their peers and their line managers had the biggest impact on that. However, ladies and gentlemen, let's strengthen middle management. Let's build a culture of cooperation and synergy and communication in our companies. Easy? No. And of course, you have experienced that as well. The drivers of engagement, the highest percentage goes to the manager, to the middle management. So the purpose is important, the development of the person is important, the continuous communication is important, the focus on the strength is important, but the most important element is I have a really competent and caring manager that leads this group of people. We do a lot of things towards that. Everything starts, as I said before, on selecting the middle management, and then in turn we and they select the right employees, so that we try to engage and focusing on their strengths. And I will say a few more things later on towards that. However, with the right manager, in middle level, we can achieve significantly better performance in terms of revenue as well. The question, however, is not to engage or not. Obviously, it's one-way street for all of us, and it's a challenge. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not an overnight thing we can do. And I'm sure you have seen different types of attitudes in our personal lives. We have seen employees that they really show real interest. They act like it's their company. Not a lot, but we see that. We see people that they working according to the process, according to the procedure. I follow the protocol. I do my work as usual. Most of the people belong in this category. And of course, unfortunately, and we tolerate them sometimes, we see people that they search for opportunities to defame the company, to express their anger towards the company. Statistically, we're seeing a 10% being engaged, 10 to 15%, about 70% non-engaged, and 20% actively disengaged. And if we have achieved what we have achieved, having seen that, imagine what we can do if we take these people from here, and if we take these people from there, and we add them to the engagement side, and we turn this towards us, and have a balance between 70% engaged and only 20 or 30% non-engaged. Companies could do, and societies could do miracles if the analogy was the one that you're seeing. And of course, as I said, the primary responsibility for the engaging the employees belongs to the middle manager, to the supervisor, to the middle manager, name it, whatever, and however you would like to name it. A typical mistake that we do, we confuse, and I include myself in there, we confuse the happiness and the good climate with engagement and with the culture. Those two things are far apart, and we have experienced this every day in here. No need to stay in there, but I would like also to talk a little bit about how we integrate people and how we engage people at the level we are right now, and we're really pretty happy because we have measured that. How to integrate people smoothly by providing the right framework and the right message to people. So when we hire someone, as many of you, if not all, do, is that we welcome these people, we give this person a mentor, we set a framework, and we provide with this letter a clear philosophical statement with the vision and with the values of the company. Right after, we continue with 2.5 days with a orientation. 2.5 days, no training, no work. The person goes through all departments, introduces himself or herself, stays there for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, starts to learn the geography of the system, who does what and what we're doing here. So we try to present to ensure some comfort in a newcomer to this complex environment, as this environment that we are operating is. Then we assign a mentor. Sorry, I had no time to translate our guide, but we assign as a mentor, we develop a mentor's guide, a 3.5 to 4 pages document that describes the process, sets the rules of the game, and clarifies expectations in both sides, from the mentor and from the mentoree. There is a process in which we follow. There is monitoring on that process, making sure that it's followed and it is productive. And of course, we train the mentor. It's not just take the procedure and implement it. And we continuously talk about it. The next thing we completely change is to develop job descriptions that reflect the reality. We set the conditions of the cooperation, the performance indicators. We link every job description with performance indicators. And this is a basis for us for the assessment at the end of the year. In terms of developing and appraising people, this is a challenge, of course, for us, because when we invited some companies to do the appraisal for us, they asked us with a huge amount of money. So we decided to sit down and develop our own tailor-made, based on theory, annual appraisal system. Before we tell a few things, we say a few things about it, this is one thing that we should stress out. One person is enough. One person is enough to create, let's say, disruption or to create problematic attitudes in a department. Unfortunately, the majority of healthy, bright red apples will not and will never correct the defected one. The other way around, though, in reality, it happens. And I'm sure you have seen that, but I have seen that in the companies I am going through all these years, happening very often. So it's important for us to remember that sometimes we have to take hard decisions, but it's for the benefit of the team, and we take it. The toxic culture, it's 10 times more likely to contribute to attrition than compensation. However, do not expect to, if you have a toxic culture, to compensate with better salary and expecting that people will stay in the company. We have seen that. I've seen it personally many times. People change companies sometimes with less money, with less salary. No need to stay here. And let's see now in terms of developing people. In every department, there is a separate log, a training log, in which there are training priorities, there are follow-up days, there is reflection, there are tools that people should be advised in order to train themselves. It's a controlled process. Somebody might say, come on, it's too detailed, too bureaucratic. I might agree with you. I just want to remind you that we are a health institution, and a sensitive health institution. People here are coming with different psychology. So we try to be as precise as possible, as accurate as possible. Yes, we are bureaucratic, and we know that. We know that because every year when we go through certifications and reaccreditations, we get this comment. You have huge bureaucracy. We do. We know that. Of course, we try to eliminate the level of bureaucracy now, and we're in a pretty good level. But no matter what, we have a concrete and very obvious and clear training process and development process for our people for the reasons I just explained earlier. How we develop people. Development for us is a strategic pillar, is one of the 6 fundamental strategies we have. So we take it pretty seriously. It's a philosophical issue, and we try to develop people as well. The main criterion is the annual assessment, is the acronym for indicators of performance and process of development. So after they complete this, whoever wants to apply for something, to apply for a scholarship, to apply for a certification, to apply for a convention, they do this through the head of the department. They submit their applications to the scientific council, and the board approves. This is a clear, well accepted by all method, because it's based on 7 criteria, very quantitative criteria. People are accepting those, and we're very happy because every year new people apply for this plan, and new people get the benefits they want in order to proceed and in order to develop themselves. The Annual appraisal is a process that we start now for January. A lot of communication. The annual appraisal change in people's mind from, let's say, a panel of directors against the employee. No, it's not like that anymore. We have worked a lot in communication to persuade people that this is not for that reason. The annual appraisal is for developmental reasons, is to identify positive and strong things of employees, enhance them, and of course, identify weaknesses and try to eliminate them. Of course, research says that it's much easier to reinforce and multiply a positive attitude towards compared to a negative attitude. A negative attitude is not easy to be corrected. And we focus the whole appraisal in this mentality. A lot of communication in departments, a lot of communication in middle management, in newcomers as well, in order to make them realize that the main reason we do this is for developing the individual, and through the individual, the company also will be developed. So to achieve all these changes, we need to ensure trust. The key word for me in all this transformation, and I have seen this 5 years now, is the level of trust you acquire from your people, from the middle management first, and then progressively to the rest of the people in the company. I like this, so I would like to share with you as I go towards the end of this. Does anyone believe that we can survive without adapting change? We are so dedicated to routine sometimes that we don't accept change. Where there is change, there is resistance as well. Should I change, or I think I should wait for later? The dinosaurs are not existing anymore because scientists say they didn't change. If I change, I will not be in a comfort zone anymore. Let the others change. I'm okay, I'm fine. And the outcome, do I still have the time to change? So let's critically adapt the process of change. Keep in mind that every time we want to change something, let's say the desire of change is high, the comfort zone from the right end, from the high end, unfortunately for us, it will go to the lower end, to your left. If your change, your desire of change is low, nice public relations, but no outcome. People will love you because their comfort zone is pretty high. So the line that reflects the relationship between comfort and desire for change is the one that you see here. The higher the desire, the more the resistance. And I like this article. I'll give it to you at the end. To change, you need all these: vision, skills, incentives, resources, and plan. If one of them is missing, you create a different outcome. However, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, and this is the actually article at the end. More than happy if you have problems in finding it. More than happy to share this with you. However, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the last slide I would like to share with you, and then we open for questions. Yes, we can build the brand we wish, to create a corporate culture beyond celebrations, beyond smiles, and beyond Christmas dinners and celebrations. It's important to start with clear organizational structure, with visions, with values, with clear strategy, with frequent communication, with all stakeholders. It's also very important for me to have well-defined indicators of performance, fair measurement of the performance of all people. We also have clarified our rewarding system, and we recognize with different ways, not always with monetary ways, recognize high performance. We finally provide understanding and support with clear scheme of development, with clear managerial methodology, and with caring managers, and of course, clear leadership. The key role, again and again in here, is to create strong middle management as well. With this slide, I would like to thank you very much for the patience. I hope I have contributed even by little in your development. I hope I gave you a couple of ideas you could apply later on in your companies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the attendance.
Dr. Dimitrios, thank you so much. Fantastic, some great insights there, really sharing some good perspective, certainly. And as I'm sure many have found this very valuable indeed. And again, if you found this valuable or you simply want to know more about what Dr. Dimitrios is sharing, certainly online, connect with him on LinkedIn. I'm sure these conversations can go forward as well. In terms of questions, there haven't been any come through, but that's entirely okay. Dr. Dimitrios.